Hello, my name is Karen Hughes. In this module, we're going to talk about migrations, specifically how you would migrate on-prem environments from a lift and shift perspective to the public cloud in TrueSight Cloud Cost Control. The agenda for this module is simply explain migrations with one slide, and then we're going to go right into a live demo of the solution. So let's talk about migrating from on-prem to the public cloud. A migration is simply moving some type of service or servers from on-prem to the public cloud. Most often this is referred to as a lift and shift. So what we're going to show you today is how you potentially can leverage your on-prem environment and the historical data from your on-prem environment to optimize which public cloud provider would be best suited for your migration. What we do is, in addition to showing you each of the different public cloud providers and how much it would cost for on-demand instances moving to the public cloud, we also tell you and optimize what specific instance type we would recommend based on your current performance and hardware configuration on-prem. You have the ability to then modify or change our recommendations depending on if you want to sacrifice cost for performance or vice versa. So I'm going to go take you through an exercise on showing you how we can accomplish this now. Okay, so let's log on to the solution. Once we log in, we land on our landing page, which is the summary page of Cloud Cost Control. If we want to do a migration, we have to either be on the Buy Server tab or the Buy Business Service tab. If I click on the Buy Business Service tab, it immediately shows me all of the different business services that I currently have, whether they're already in a cloud or whether or not they're on-prem. Since I want to show how you can migrate on-prem to the public cloud, I'm going to toggle off some of the public cloud provider data that I currently have today. So now I'm currently only looking at the business services that I have running on-prem. I could see how much it costs for each of those different business services today for the month, what the predicted cost is or projected cost is for the current month, and then more information as far as the number of instances that comprise that business service and whether or not it's on-prem. If I then simply choose one of the different business services that I'm looking at, I could select the business service and immediately it gives me more detailed about that business service. So I can see how much it's cost me in the past and the projections for the future. I also can get a detail as far as what resources are in this business service and how much each of those are costing me. I also can drill down into the server details and understand from a performance perspective how each of those different servers that comprise that business service are performing. But if I go back to my business service, that engineering business service that I was talking about, I want to simply see how much it would cost if I simulate moving it to the public cloud. So all I have to do is, since I'm in this engineering business service now, is click on the Simulate Cloud Migration button. And immediately it will tell me a lot of things. It tells me how much it costs a month for being on-prem. And then it tells me what it would cost for each of the three different public cloud providers, AWS, Azure, or Google, if I were to consider moving that to the public cloud. Down below, I can see my before picture. So here are the different servers that are actually comprising that business service. And then here is what it would look like after you were to move. It's important to understand that just because you're doing a lift and shift does not necessarily mean you optimize your environment on-prem prior to moving to the public cloud. So this is where we would actually give you a recommendation on what instance type you should leverage if you were going to move this business service from on-prem to the public cloud. In addition, you have the ability of editing and looking at each of the individual components or servers of that business service and see what the configuration was on-prem and what the performance was for the last 30 days. After you were to move that to the public cloud, in this particular case Azure, It's showing you what it would cost you, and again, the recommendations we have for the configuration. If you, however, think that you want better utilization, or if you want better memory utilization, etc., you do have the ability to modify this by simply choosing or changing the instance types that we have. So here, for instance, you might want to change to a different configuration. Notice that the price definitely went up because the instance type I chose was more expensive than what we had recommended. But this is a great way of you deciding on how and what you want to do prior to doing it when you're planning your migration. If I come back to the main screen, you can say, well, I don't have Azure, for instance, in my environment. I only have an AWS shop. So if I double click on AWS, it will immediately change my arrows to go AWS. And you'll notice that the instance types changed because AWS calls their instance types different than what Azure or Google does. So we make sure to provide you the same type of look and feel regardless of public cloud provider you're working with. And then we also give you an insight into what you can expect based on moving from on-prem to the public cloud. These numbers basically help explain your costs associated with your contracts. So for instance, this is an on-demand instance that you're paying monthly, but you only have a contract by month, because obviously some of your on-demand instances you only need for a short period of time. However, you'll notice that the costs go down depending on if you're signing a year contract or 3-year contract accordingly. In addition, you'll also know that you can change the regions for where this particular public cloud or availability zone is located. And that too might also change the price. So for instance, right now we're running AWS in US East North Virginia. If I change that to, say, Ireland, you'll notice that it did slightly change the cost of the public cloud provider's details. So there's a number of ways to interact with this interface to make sure you understand the implications of configuration, location, and public cloud provider. Finally, you could also export the result of this to either a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet, so then you can help convey or show to your stakeholders what's going on. And that concludes this module of TrueSight Cloud Cost Control on migrations. I want to thank you for your time. Please look for other modules that I have on other topics for cloud cost control. Thanks and have a great day.